You go to Google and you search for a solution, and you really can't tell the difference between all of the 3 or 4 or 5 top search results. What we want is for something to stand out so clearly that you know, oh my gosh, this is the only solution to my problem. I will say some things sometimes that I think are actually not polarizing, and then people freak out, which is wild to me.
Hello, everybody. This is Ken Tucker with Changescape Web. And today's episode of the Marketing Guides for Small Businesses podcast, we have a really awesome guest, Molly Mahoney, who's going to be talking about the spotlight effect using AI to create a brand so strong that it sells for you. Hi, Molly. Welcome.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So we're also joined by Paul Barthel from Changescape Web today. So welcome, Paul.
Hey, everyone.
So let me just tell everybody about Molly. You've really got some amazing things that you've been doing lately, and so I want to make sure everybody really just knows more about you if they aren't familiar with you already. So you're a digital marketing strategist, you're a keynote speaker, and you've been a performer in New York City. And now you really focus on helping entrepreneurs blend AI-powered marketing with authentic human connection, which I think is really important because I think a lot of people right now are kind of freaked out about AI and they're really worried about losing, that human connection. But Molly's been featured in Forbes and Inc. And listen to this crazy number, 39 million views on her viral videos. So that's insane. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. We can come back and talk about that one.
All right. So you started the Prepared Performer in 2013, and you also launched the world's first AI-focused content membership in 2021, 2 years before ChatGPT. You've also written several books. The latest is your AI playbook, AIify Your Business. So, and you also believe that weird is your superpower, and the more fun you have, the more money you will make. So, anything you'd like to add to that, Molly?
Yeah, I mean, I really, my background was in musical theater. So I started as a professional musical theater performer and did things like the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang national tour. I got to do a movie with Dick Van Dyke, which was like the greatest day of my life next to my marriage and the birth of my children. It was such an awesome day. And I took everything that I learned through that whole experience and all of my background there, and I've really blended it with technology, helping people to be more authentically exactly who they are and amplify that with AI. And it's been a super fun adventure. So
yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, let's just jump right into it. So you're talking about the spotlight effect. So what does that actually mean in practical marketing terms?
So this is when, how sometimes you'll be, I don't know how much time you spend on social media, but when you're on social media and things just start to look the same, or you go to Google and you search for a solution and you really can't tell the difference between all of the 3 or 4 or 5 top search results. Well, that is the opposite of the spotlight effect. What we want is for something to stand out so clearly that you know, oh my gosh, this is the only solution to my problem. And with everything that's happening with AI these days, it's really become clearer and clearer. Literally every second, we learn more about how important it is to build, like they say, that moat around your business castle so that you really are protecting yourself. Because with AI, the way that it is, it's so easy to copy another offer. It's so easy to copy a full business model. And if you don't have a unique differentiator, which I believe starts with your personal brand and the things that make you weird, then what are you even doing?
Well, that could bode well for my company, Changescape, with Paul. So
it totally could. I think the true thing is, even though it may seem scary and it may seem uncomfortable, I think it actually bodes well for all of us as a human species, or, it's like for humanity, it bodes well, because otherwise we're all going to become zombie robots, which we don't want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm still on the board of a dance company in St. Louis, even though I moved to Albuquerque. And I was
That's cool.
walking
Did we
into
talk about that before? That's so awesome. Do you know that I did shows in St. Louis?
Oh no, really?
Yeah, in Kirkwood at Stages. Do you know Stages
Okay.
St. Louis?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
Wow.
artistic director there is a good friend of mine, Gail C. I love
Oh,
it
okay,
there. It's
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, this is the Modern American Dance Company. So they had a big program where they brought in dancers from, all over the United States and had dance performances. But what I was thinking is, my God, as we're moving into this world of AI, imperfect and human is the new craving and the new premium. So I think maybe the spotlight effect is kind of what you're trying to get to there, because that is your differentiation when you allow your personality and your humanness to come through.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. So my dad has a tree trimming company that he purchased for $5,000 when he was 18. And now they do over 300 city contracts with this tree trimming business. It is just amazing. And it's funny because he's so good at relationship building and that human thing and, connection and remembering people and all of that. But I think because he's been doing it for so long and because it started when he was so young, I don't think he ever really developed a framework or a system around it. And so he just lives it, right? And I see that happen a lot with our clients, that they're like, well, no, I couldn't systematize this because it's just who I am. I don't even know what it is. And I think the process that we take people through for this spotlight effect really helps them to segment out the things that make them unique and different and what they're doing in their business, so that you get you land upon a message that really allows you to like cut through the noise. So
Yeah,
it's a cool
yeah.
exercise.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Paul, you have a question?
Yeah, so Molly, welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
So a lot of people hear like AI and branding and they think it's all hype, which I might throw you a little curveball because what problem is AI actually solving here? And in my interactions, mostly with small businesses, it seems like there's almost no middle ground. It's like either AI doesn't affect me, I don't need it, I don't have to mess with it, or AI can fix everything.
Yeah, I agree. That's what the problem is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we really need to find, if there's not, this past week has been such a huge point such huge proof to the point that we need to find a middle ground, I think, in most things, except for in your marketing, because I think in your marketing you should be polarizing. But in everything else, we've got to find some sort of middle ground. And with the AI thing, there needs to be some sort of balance to it, because otherwise, if you totally avoid it, I think there's two huge problems. One is it's going to go on without you, and then your voice and your values and whatever it is, like all of the things that you are standing for as a human who's standing against AI, will be kept out of AI. And so then we'll lose your perspective as this machine continues to build. The other thing is, if you stay away from it, then you're going to be left behind because it's going to continue on without you, whether you like it or not. So I do think there are more and more communities that are standing up to be human first. I also believe that we need to be using these AI tools not to just take over and create AI slop, but really to elevate us. And like back to the, dance company or theater company thing, I have one client that we actually do their social media content for them, and it is a local theater company. And I did a video for their production of Scrooge, the musical, that was the man who was playing Scrooge with some AI animation behind him, like just people slowly walking down a street, a very Dickens type thing.
Yeah.
And we got so much hate on that video. It was like, I can't believe that you'd use AI, all of these actors like coming out of the woodwork, freaking out. But my point was, if I can create something that's engaging and highlights this awesome human to bring more people in person to the theater,
Right.
isn't that a great thing? Like, we don't have the budget at a local theater company to go rent out a whole sound studio and actually film a Dickens type street and pay extras to walk behind us. So it's never going to happen. But if we can find ways to use AI light to bring more human connection. I think that that's like the balance that I want to stand on. So
Yeah,
it's a tricky thing.
absolutely. Yeah. So when you talk about a brand that sells for you, especially for service-based businesses, how do you define that? Because you had to talk a little bit about it with your dad and his tree company. I mean, it can be a little bit challenging if you're service-based or B2B. I think a lot of those folks built their business based on their own personal trust and relationships, and now they need to find ways to translate that into a pervasive brand, really.
Yeah. So we say in our company values, actually, it says that all business transactions start and end with a human touch, but we have a lot of AI and automation in between. So it's finding that balance, right? I personally am not going to, as far as I know right now, I'm not launching a whole campaign to have an AI assistant that does outbound calls. I know a lot of people do that, but that's not the place that we want to be in. I will, however, have an opportunity for people to talk to an AI assistant that the human is instigating that conversation. And then I'm never pretending that it's not AI. We actually use the fact that it's AI to make it more fun and engaging and more playful. Another thing is just, back to my dad, it's like for those people who are running these local businesses, like there's a clothing store in an area in this little cute downtown area in the city of Orange in California. And the owner of the store, every time I go in there, I don't know her personally. I've not spent time with her anywhere else. But when I go get my haircut in the Circle, I think, oh, I'm going to go to that store. And there's 7 other stores on the block. But I know because she's a human that I've connected with that I want to support her and that there's that connection piece. So when I see her social media and it's her in it, it weaves that connection piece through it. And so if as a founder, you can weave your origin story into the brand, and let's say you don't want to share things about yourself personally, create some sort of attractive character, like they call it in the world of marketing, that people can connect to. Create some sort of storyline that brings people in. One other example is really quick. There's a restaurant that we like, the restaurant that we like to go to pre-2020. In 2020, I was terrified this restaurant was going to close. And I reached out to the person who runs it. His name's Ben. It's an Italian restaurant and in the same area of Orange. And I just made it my mission that I was going to do whatever I could do to keep that business alive. So we went every single week. We left them $100 tip every time throughout all of 2020. My 10-year wedding anniversary was in 2020, which was such a bummer to, how are we going to, no, we're all stuck at home. But we made it an amazing night catered by, Renata's. My kids were our waiters. And now every time we go into that restaurant, he's like, oh, family, and if you can create that kind of energy with your business, that's how you get loyal customers that are with you for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when we talk about AI within the branding process, where does it belong? Where should you really use it? And where should you definitely not use it? Where does it not belong?
Okay, that's a good question. And it's like a sliding scale, right? So for where you definitely should use it, you want to create what I call your company details document. So this, if you know Jonathan Mast, he calls it your dossier, which I love. And I think that's very, very fancy. But we always, for all of our programs, when people come in, whether they're joining us in the AI Content Club, AI Stars, or our highest level Multiply, they get into our course dashboard and there's one course called the Start Here course. Because everybody's always like, where do I start? Go to the Start Here course. And in there, we get very clear about several things, and we use AI to help us find this clarity. So we get clear about your brand voice. We get clear about your ideal client, and not just their pain points, but we love what are their tickle points? What are the things that they love outside of the solutions that you're providing? Really in depth about your ideal client. And I used to say, don't create a fictitious ideal client avatar, because going and talking to an actual human being and having in mind an actual human being is such a a juicy, awesome thing to have. But AI does allow us to create these fictional characters in a very robust way. So we're using AI to identify your brand voice. So we have a process for pulling out your stories, for pulling out your past content, or interviewing you now to get your voice out there now. Then, while all of that is AI-ified, we have a section in this brand voice piece that is 100% human, which is called your quesadilla of awesome. And your quesadilla of awesome is when you go through and you identify, okay, who am I as a human being? And it goes through 5 different steps. It's an acronym. The word is SAVE. You may think SAVE has 4 letters, but it actually, I can't spell, so I made it spelled wrong so that people won't make fun of my bad spelling and I won't feel bad about it. So it's SAAVE, which is your skill sets that separate from your business, your appearance, so that you feel like a rock star when you show up, because that is what matters in your energy, not what other people think about how you look, the things you love about how you look. Your activities, separate from your business, your values, which you can weave into your business, but you've got to start with what those are for you as a human. And then finally, the things you like to eat. And this is where you can create that polarizing content. So I always love to suggest, if people are looking to up their engagement, to go to their personal Facebook profile and write the words Brussels sprouts, yes or no. And for whatever reason, it's like the most engaging post ever written. And so when you have this list of all these things that make you uniquely awesome, that you created as a human, not with AI, you weave that into these AI tools. And so now you've got this awesome starting point so that when you go to do other things with AI, which we have loads of different frameworks and strategies and things that we're doing with AI images, videos, yada, yada, you're starting with a foundation that is rooted in who you actually are as a human being, what you stand for, your voice, your ideal client information. And then we also have in this document all of your product information and your services as well.
Yeah, cool. So the polarizing thing is really intriguing to me, because I think a lot of people unintentionally do polarization, and I think it's very important that it needs to be intentional, because first of all, you have to be you, and you have to be consistent with who you are. Otherwise, you're going to be a miserable human being.
Totally.
But at the same time, you need to think through the repercussions. I mean, if you're going to take a political stand, you need to be prepared to deal with the backlash if that's the polarization that you want to leverage. So are there different types of polarizations, things that you recommend people really go all in on versus, things that maybe they should avoid?
Yeah, and I think it's important before you start showing up on social media, especially, that you decide where you stand in terms of how much you're going to share, and that you do recognize that there is a repercussion on the back end on, where you stand. What I find to be fascinating is that I will say some things sometimes that I think are actually not polarizing, and then people freak out, which is wild to me. So sometimes just even like I have a hashtag that is stand for joy, and then I stand for joy as a fierce form of activism. And sometimes even standing for joy can be something that makes people really mad. They're like, don't be so joyful, So it's like wild.
Yeah.
In terms of like the political conversation, I think this is actually really interesting as of late. I'm going to share a story that I don't know if I sometimes don't think I should share, but I'm just going to share it anyway because you asked. So over the holidays, a good friend of mine who's in this AI marketing space posted a few things that I just really could not handle, because he was doing an experiment, which he has shared that this was his experiment, to see what would happen on his personal Facebook profile if he got really loud about American politics. And it wasn't in a way that was like, I'm voting for this person, right? It was in a way where he was using AI images to intentionally encourage conversation, but it was like divisive conversation. And so it was like intentionally encouraging people to argue almost, because he's very much for free speech, which I am all for, and I think that is awesome. I just think we need to be careful, and we have a responsibility as business leaders that if we are creating polarizing content that is encouraging people to be hateful, that's not the place that I want to live. And I think you probably can gain more business, but I don't want to gain that kind of business. But I mean, totally up to you, right? And he and I have had many long conversations about this, both publicly and behind the scenes. And that is the energy space that he wants to live in. And if that's the energy space he wants to live in and he thinks it's funny and I finally was like, can you just like look at the comments that are coming in though? Because some of the comments were so awful, not his post, but the comments. And he was like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. Like there's so many comments I wasn't paying attention to. Maybe I do need to moderate some of those. And I was like, what is happening? So I just feel that we have a responsibility to recognize that our energy is contagious and what kind of energy are we putting out there. Now, I have people on all sides of all fences and all things in my community. And I know that some people do really want to get loud about those types of things. I'm just very strategic when I decide to dive into that world. Usually over the holidays, I had like 3 days where I got a little feisty because I was triggered. And then I realized I'm no good when I get into that space. So I pulled back.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the reason that I kind of thought about that one is, it's polarizing. I mean, we see, if you look at social media posts, the things that get a lot of engagement are things that usually are polarizing or a little bit controversial or provocative or,
I think
the whole spectrum.
Provocative is a really great word also, because if you can say things that provide a different perspective, I think that's like the best way to go about this. Now, are there ways to have like clickbaity titles and things like that? And do I sometimes, structure our hooks to grab more attention? I mean, just recently, the Anthropic safety lead quit, and he said, like, the world is in peril was what he actually said. And so that was the headline that I led with in a post. And then I had someone comment below and be like, I'm not even going to say what he said, but he said really rude things about the fact that I used that as a headline, but that's actually what the guy said. So it's a fine line. And I think as a business, you get to decide. You know what a perfect example actually is? Do you know Penzeys Spices?
No.
So they are a spice.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So they are a spice company and they have gone all in on their political stance in it's like a wild case study. They have gone all in and they will do like gift cards specifically tied to political stances that they're taking. And it's worked super well for them. I think that's happened in a lot of different, companies, but I think you can take a polarizing or a provocative stance on should you drink water with electrolytes or not. I don't know. People get all kinds of things can be polarizing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and, I think the key is, if people don't do it intentionally and they don't do it strategically, they just take the easy route out and they're like, oh, come up with a tagline for my business. Here I do this and this is the area I serve. And everybody's doing that same thing. And there's no depth. They call it Chat GPT for a reason. It's actually a conversation, a dialogue,
Hello.
And you train it and educate it to give you better, deeper answers. But a lot of people are kind of hitting that just at the surface level, and so the provocative, and your own personality gives you the ability to differentiate yourself, I think.
Yeah. And I do think that is something that this spotlight effect helps with, because when we go through the whole exercise, you really get clear on the big, unique problem that you're solving, and you get clear on the big, unique solution that you're providing and what's your differentiator, right? So getting clear on that from a business perspective. And then that woven in with your quesadilla of awesome is where you start to get your brand hooks and taglines and, those we create something called an enemy avatar, which is where you decide like, what are you standing for, but also what are you standing against? So like my enemy avatar I used to use a male name for it, but I've recently realized I've created my own female version of her, which is actually super funny. But I used to call him Lambo Larry. It was like I'm not going to be the standing next to a Lamborghini with the chicks in bikinis. Like that's not my vibe. But so I started doing these Sora videos of Lambo Lucy. If you go to my Sora account, or it's probably on my Instagram also, Molly Mahoney Official, there's Lambo Lucy who's like standing by a Lamborghini and she's, check it out, whatever, all those things. And so the more that you can find that place where you lie in that, I think the better. So it's cool.
Interesting. So do you actually recommend maybe as a consideration, people create an alter ego as kind of a way to have fun and play?
Yeah. And I think even if you look back on old TV commercials, right, where you'd see the things that would become like the really salesy mattress seller or whatever, right? For like local business stuff, you could do something that's like, that could be your alter ego. And that, like that starts the video. And then it's like, hey, we're not like that here. Come on in, take a seat. If you want to buy a mattress, buy one, whatever it is. Yeah, I think that could be cool. Nothing against those types of mattress commercials. I think they could work as well. But
yeah, absolutely.
So maybe we should have started with this question, because you can't really use AI to help with your brand if you haven't defined your brand. So what foundational brand work needs to exist before AI can be effective?
Yeah, so that's everything that we put into the company details document. So not only do we get clear about your brand voice and the language, but also about the imagery. And one thing that I do a little different than some people is I actually think when you are building your brand, especially if you have a human being attached to the brand, you should find colors that complement your skin tone because I think we should be wearing our brand, right? Like be your brand. So I'm wearing, if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you can see this, but if not, I'm wearing this like very jewel toned scarf right now. And I'm always careful when I wear it to not make the yellow go next to my face because I know that I am like a winter palette. And so when I do that, then all the colors that are going to be near me in my brand marketing are going to accentuate me as a visual thing as well. I'm in a hotel today because I was speaking at an event. So I've got this kind of random picture behind me, but it's kind of in my brand colors too. Yeah. But that way, not only does that make it easy color-wise, but what I also love to do in terms of your brand is identify 1 to 3 graphic kind of, what do I call them? Like not icons, but visual representations, right? So for me, I use palm trees, stars, and disco balls. And the palm trees and the disco balls may seem a little, odd together, but that's where the magic happens because everything that I do is palm trees and disco balls. We sell pretend cruises in my backyard. Like there's a whole thing. But now when I go into tools like Notebook LM, it is very easy to make brand specific infographics and videos and slides by literally my prompt is the most simple prompt ever. I say black, white, magenta, C20AAF. That's my hex code. Then I say palm trees, stars, disco balls, and sometimes I will say sans serif font. And even though I have a full brand Bible and I use Pinterest boards, and I use this AI tool called Mixboard. That's a Google tool that's totally free. Those are all great. But if I can get it as simple as black, white, magenta, and sometimes I'll add in a yellow and little accents of yellow and green, I've created infographics that have generated hundreds of leads as a social media post. And all I do is I post a picture of the infographic and then I say want the whole system. And then it leads to a video about the system. But it's so specific to my brand that it makes people go, oh, what is that? It stands out. And that's really, I think, important.
So, one of the things that we're seeing is the importance of omni-channel marketing has never been more important than ever. You've got to have your content and you've got to have a distribution strategy to get your content scattered across the entire web. Brand mentions are becoming super important now. With AEO and GEO and the change in the algorithms. I think there are great repurposing tools that are out there. Can you talk a little bit about how do you maintain your consistency of your brand and the voice of your business across the different channels, but still keep it relevant for the way that channel is most set to optimize? I mean, like, people who are on TikTok are not going to be necessarily the people who are on Facebook. And yet you're probably trying to use some of the same content potentially, or maybe you shouldn't be using some of the content on both of those same channels. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we have this system called the Evergreen Engine. And I find that a lot of times people get stuck because they think, oh, if I'm going to post on all these platforms, like exactly like you said, in a perfect world, would it be amazing to have unique content for every single platform that is specific for that user on that platform, that's specific for the size and the color and the energy and whatever of that platform? 100% yes. But if that stops people from creating content at all, it's not worth it. And so we always suggest that you treat it like a parfait, and you post on one platform first, then you layer on the next platform, then you layer on the next platform. But to your point, a really easy way to do this when you're getting started is you start with the platform that there's two options. One is the best for your business is that you start at the platform where your people are actually spending time. So if your people are mainly living on Instagram, great. Now, one caveat I will give, if there's a platform that you really dislike, like I, over the years, have tried to get into LinkedIn. It is just not my thing.
I agree.
Okay, good. I could tell from like some of the people that I know you mentioned and things, right? Like in your podcast, I was like, yeah, you're my people. But I know that I have clients there. So we have a strategy where when you're first getting started with this, you can actually use a tool like repurpose.io. Do you use Repurpose?
No, we don't use Repurpose.
I love it so much. I've used it probably since 2000. I think it came out maybe in like 2017.
Okay.
I was user number 3. It's awesome. The founder's Annie is just such a great human too. But what it does is it takes your videos off of one platform, strips the watermark. You can adjust the caption inside inside Repurpose. It can adjust the caption for you, and then it posts it on another platform. So I will post natively on Instagram, and then I have a schedule where I have posts going out 3 times a day on YouTube, and it's just pulling from my old Instagram content. Now, if I post a new post on Instagram, that will bump to the top, but if I don't post at all, it's going to go back and grab my old content. So this is like my own accountability engine, because it makes me know that, okay, Mahoney, if you don't post, it may post something from Easter that's not going to make any sense because it's just grabbing all my old content. That being said, I still do not post 3 times a day on Instagram, but I think it's like a good challenge for myself. Yeah. And so you can set up a tool like that. But another example is that I just this morning was having a conversation with a client, and I said, hey, I just want to make sure you know your business posts that are going on your personal social media Facebook platform on its personal profile, they were set to friends only, so I couldn't share them. And he was like, oh, it's because I'm just focusing on Instagram and I just had it automatically share to Facebook. And then he was like, I know I probably should be posting on Facebook natively. And I said, no, I'm just stoked that you're posting at all. Like, let's just get Facebook or Instagram down. And then maybe once a week, go over to Facebook and click the little button to make those few posts public. And so I really say, like, give yourself some grace in that you don't need to feel like every single post on every platform needs to be totally specific. But the way that we really do this is we create this Evergreen Engine. And I actually have a software tool called the Evergreen Engine that will write your evergreen content. And then you can come on top of that and create platform specific posts that live on top of the evergreen posts. So you could do 3 to 5 evergreen posts a week, but then come in on LinkedIn with something that's more LinkedIn related. Come in on Facebook that's more Facebooky. Go to TikTok and do a dance. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that because part of it is you have to think about content as a production. It has to be consistent and ongoing. But don't just phone it in, but you need to build tools. And this is where we love AI, because it gives you the ability to do this in a volume much greater than before, and reducing the amount of time, and still, building in quality.
Yeah.
Train the AI right.
And the AI is there to support you,
Right.
so that you can show up and let your creativity really shine and bubble to the top. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how can they automate AI avatars that just do everything for them. And the truth of the matter is, to have a really good AI avatar, like my friend Anik Singhal has, he has a whole team managing that, and multiple people. It's not as easy as everyone thinks that you can just automatically have this AI avatar go out, have it have the same feeling as a human and create some sort of connection. I love videos like Sora and those types of AI videos, but we use them for humor more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that last point. I think it's a very good one, is that there's a lot of people that think it's a lot easier than it is, and that it can actually replace people. And I mean, to some degree it can, but it can't do everything. But all that being said, this question will probably speak more directly to small business owners. Is how can AI help shorten the sales cycle or pre-qualify prospects through branding?
Ooh, I like that. Well, let me just answer without the through. Well, so through branding, I think it's that your brand needs to, again, be clear that if you're there to help, families that have a rescue dog, make it clear that that's who you're there to help. If let's say that you are an animal rescue and you don't rescue tortoises, make that clear, right? So the people who have tortoises go somewhere else. So then that's another form of polarization, right? Like, your brand needs to be crystal clear of who you're speaking to and the solutions that you provide. I also think in that sales cycle, there's so many cool ways that AI can do this. One of my favorite ways is through automation. So if you go to my Instagram, Molly Mahoney Official, you'll see my top 3 posts, as long as I haven't changed them by the time you're listening to this, have a lot of comments, because I have a call to action on them where I say, drop the word roadmap below this post and I'll send you a 46-page guide that helps you to yada, yada, yada. And so I'm driving comments, which ups the algorithm. It also lets me know it's a real human being on the other side, because they're not giving me some fake email address. Then I have an automation. We use High Level on the back end. I have an automation that responds to the comment and sends them a DM. The DM has a button that people click in order to send another message. So it's like, hey, it looks like you wanted my guide. Click the button below if you want it. They click the button. That unlocks another deeper layer of conversation. It's all automated. Then you can have an AI assistant scheduled to come back 10 minutes later and say, hey, did you get the guide? Then when they get to the page where the guide is, I have an AI voice agent that I'm very clear is AI. I'm like, test out our friend Bobby here. Mm-hmm. And when they test out Bobby, she's really funny. And she says things like, that's some good shiz, right? She's got a funny voice. And not every brand is going to be funny, right? Maybe we have another client who has a whole system that she's built for mortuaries, and she has a compassion concierge that's an AI voice that's going to have a completely different conversation, right? But Bobby is trained to send people to our Facebook group. And so when people ask questions, she's like, oh, Molly can help you with that in her Facebook group, AI Marketing for Entrepreneurs. Then I have a human on the other side who is actually the AI operator that watches all of this. So the AI is getting them closer to the sale. If anyone gets stuck, The AI is trained to be able to flag us internally. So it's like a whole team of humans and robots helping people to move forward.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It actually seems like we live in outer space. Like when you talk about the fact that we can do all of this now, it is so wild. We are living in the Jetsons. I don't even,
Yeah, it really is amazing. I mean, to think about, I mean, obviously in 2021, you saw potential with AI,
Yeah.
way before many other people. But it's remarkable to me that, polarizing, AI right now is one of the most polarizing things that I see. When I talk to small business owners, they're either completely freaked out about it and it shuts down the conversation, or you have people who embrace it to say, yeah, I need somebody who can help me use this because I understand what's happening in the world and I need to be able to adapt to it. So, the word polarization too, I guess from my perspective, I never really thought about it as really a customer segmentation process like you just described. If you work with rescue dogs but you don't work with tortoises, for example, I didn't ever really think about that. That as a way to think about polarization.
Well, I think that's what I guess I mean though by the fact that it can be anything that pushes and pulls, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember being at an event and we were put into these networking groups and they said, okay, tell us who your ideal client is. And this woman said, I serve everyone with skin. I was like, there's a great way to serve no one because it's impossible to recommend. Like no one comes to mind when you think of everyone with skin because most everyone I know has skin, And so if you say like, I serve people with beards, like I'm going to think that instantly is a segmentation. And if you do a video, so like my brother has won best natural beard in Orange County 2 years in a row, which is like, he has a giant beard. They call him Little Paul Bunyan.
Okay.
And if he's getting Facebook ads for something and it's like this is very specific, but it's on something or he sees content coming through and it's like how to get the perfect shave, he's never going to go for that. But if it's something on how to get your handlebar mustache to curl a certain way, right? That actually is polarizing in itself because it's as soon as you see it, people are going, nope, that's not for me. Or yep, that's for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and a lot of things that I've really been thinking about outcomes. A lot of people, when they're talking about marketing, they're false metrics. They're really not valuable at all. And ultimately, you've got to figure out what are the outcomes that are most important for your business. And so, while doing that, I've been really kind of digging into the whole idea of lead generation. And if you're not disqualifying leads as a marketing company or an internal marketing person, you're going to waste a tremendous amount of time and resources. And so you need to find ways to politely disqualify leads, like what you're talking about, so that the leads that you do get, they may be fewer in number, but they're much higher in likelihood of being able to sell.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because it allows us to come back to that video that I had that hit a reach of 39 million. Okay. So I think sometimes people get very excited about this idea of virality, but the actual problem with that is it fills your pipeline with a bunch of unqualified people and it creates way more of a headache on the other side. Mm-hmm. And it's such an ego play because it feels good to have a video that hits the reach of 39 million. And I will tell you that one 13-second video, Facebook paid me $30,000 for that one video, which I think is the weirdest thing that has ever happened to me. And I can tell you what the video was. It was a very weird video. But first of all, my like nervous system was so jacked that week because I just kept watching the numbers go crazy like that. And I couldn't sleep. I was like, like it was just like such a weird thing. And then I was like, are they actually going to pay me $30,000? And they did, which I also thought was so weird. And I will tell you what it was about because it was accidentally polarizing. I knew it was like kind of gross because Facebook had just started paying people for Reels. And so what I did is I went to my phone and I was like, I'm going to find the weirdest video that I have just to see what happens.
Yeah.
I had a bath bomb it was like a pink bath bomb, and I put it in the bathtub. And as it was doing its bath bomb fizzy thing, I thought that it had lavender in it, but it turns out they were bugs. So this bath bomb had bugs in it. I freaked out. I ran downstairs, told my family. I was like, oh my gosh, come upstairs. When we came upstairs into my bathroom, I took my phone and I, in a very quiet, whispery voice, I said, oh my gosh, I was just going to take a bath with this awesome bath bomb. And I thought, oh, there's lavender. No, they're flipping termites. And that's like exactly what I said in the video. I never posted it, but then I saw this opportunity. So I posted the video. I paired it with the sound that, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 right? And there was like a trending sound at the time. And then I said the caption on the screen was, I'm never taking a bath again. This was before AI, right? So this is just like a random video. What ended up happening is these bug experts started fighting about whether or not they were actually termites. The comments were cuckoo, like cussing each other out in my comments, but that drove the reach of the video. But then I had to decide, to your point, are these the type of people I want following my Facebook profile? No. So I decided not to do that strategy because the virality, I think we got 5,000 likes from that post. So out of 39 million, there were 5,000 people who maybe were actually business owners. Now, are 5,000 new followers great? Yeah, sure. How am I actually going to follow up with 5,000 people at one time, right?
Right.
I could do retargeting ads. But then if I did retargeting ads, I'm retargeting the 39 million people who I don't want to talk to. So it was like a really interesting problem. And I think that is where I really decided I've got to let go of this vanity metrics thing that we need more reach for the sake of reach. We want to reach the right people and we want to turn away the wrong people and be brave enough to say, no, that's not a good fit. You're not a good fit. This will not actually help you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to do.
I know.
Especially, for a younger business that's just trying to get their legs underneath them, you really have to probably take on clients at times that really aren't your ideal client just to build up your book of business, keep paying the bills, stuff like that. But you really do need to be working on a strategy as early as possible of how are you really going to zero in on the ideal clients and who you absolutely don't want to be working with, because when you work with people you don't want to be working with, you're miserable.
Yeah, it's exhausting. And then you can't systematize anything. And it makes it super hard to have AI in the process because, I have moved. And also, you've got to realize, like, what's the way that you love to serve? Because if you don't love it, why are you doing it? And I will say it's super important when you're getting started to just be aware of it because, like you said, you may need to take on some clients you don't love just to get things moving. But I also will say once you are established, it is still this like black hole that sucks you back in because I don't know about you, but I sometimes get addicted to like the potential of opportunity, but at what cost?
Right.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, I spend way too much time there.
Paul,
what you said about marketing ads is a really good point that no one ever thinks about. Is it if you're getting low quality leads and you're running remarketing ads, you're going to get more low quality leads.
Hello. Like totally.
That's how it works.
Yes. And that it's tricky because then you'll have video, like if you, I had this really cute AI video once and somehow I swear it got shared in some like Discord channel of people who don't like AI because I had the craziest haters on that video. It ended up, this one little video of this cute little AI thing that I made hit like 160,000 views and it was just mean comments. But you have to make sure if you are doing, like, let's say you're doing retargeting ads for your videos, that you only select the videos that you know are going like towards the right place. Or when you're uploading an email list, to your point, Paul, like only upload your best people, not just everyone. Start to really pay attention to that. It's a good It's a good thing. And also there's a strategy that I teach called organic retargeting, which is where you are training the algorithm who to show your stuff to. So back to the politics conversation, if you find yourself on Instagram just like nonstop watching political videos or something, you are training the algorithm that that's the kind of account that you have. So it's funny sometimes when I'll log into clients' accounts, sometimes, and like I had people that are in different, financial industries or like very trades focused industries. And sometimes I'm like, I can see what you've been watching, friend. Like, I don't know, because of the algorithm is serving up. And I'm like, we need to clean this up a little bit and maybe not let your wife see your Instagram algorithm. But it's like, it's wild what you can see by looking at someone's algorithm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
And I had to be careful. I had to change my account completely. So I have a business account for the Prepared Performer, but all I would want to watch is tap dancing videos. And I am not, even though initially I was the #1 search for tap dance terminology, I don't want to be considered there anymore. So I had to like break all of these SEO ties in a very similar way, Paul, because I was showing up in these musical theater like the algorithm thought that I was a musical theater coach still, which I'm not anymore. And I still internally sometimes think I'm a musical theater coach. So I have to be careful. So I started a new account and I've just got to be more intentional with it. So.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Some of the content and ads I get, and it comes from me doing research for clients.
Oh my gosh.
And the algorithm thinks that that's it's like, nope, got nothing to do with me.
Oh my gosh, that's so true on YouTube, especially because like we have a crypto mining client right now. And so I like go down these crypto mining rabbit holes and I have to remember to either use an incognito window or log into a different YouTube account so that I'm not like making it think that's what I am looking for. It's a really good point.
Yeah, definitely. So we're coming up close to an hour. So what have we not talked about today that we really should make sure we talk about and our listeners and viewers know before we let you go, Molly?
I just think for those people who are not necessarily doing major things with AI at the moment, or who just kind of dipping their feet in the AI pool, there's so much potential right now for you to build out your own AI tools that are specific to your brand, specific to your framework, specific to your systems that can make things so much easier for you and your team members. So we have a process with building just simple custom GPTs. And I know in the world of fancy marketers, custom GPTs sometimes seem like a very basic thing, but most people do not even know what they are. So just like, know that that's an awesome thing that you can do with a $20 a month ChatGPT account, and your whole team can use it. And basically you get solid on your frameworks and the foundations, and then you can put all your different processes into these different AI tools right inside of ChatGPT. You can use them inside of projects in ChatGPT. It's really amazing. And then once you get that down, we use a tool called MindPal that you can take those and put them into automated workflows where these agents start to talk to each other. You don't have to use things like, if you've heard all the craziness about ClaudeBot/Moltbot/OpenClaw, which are these wild things that you're giving permission to everything in your life. There are so many ways to use automation and AI with tools like High Level that really are a complete game changer, not just AI hype. You don't need to go all the way in, but just get started with a basic GPT. It'll change your life and business.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Paul, did you have anything that you wanted to ask?
No, I was just saying, what Molly just said, it's with a lot of small business, baby steps. Don't ignore it, because if you think that AI doesn't affect you and your competitor does, get your retirement plan in order.
Yeah.
Very true.
So Molly, how can people find out more about you? You've mentioned, several of your programs. What's the best way for people to get started to engage with you?
Yeah. Well, I actually put something together that I think will be so helpful, especially for those of you who have not built GPTs before. I have a GPT that shows you how to build a GPT. It's very meta. So if you go to molly.live/Ken Tucker. I just made it your name because marketing guides podcast, all of that was very long. So molly.live/Ken Tucker. It'll take you to this custom GPT. You click on the GPT, it installs for free right into your ChatGPT account. Nobody else can see what you're doing when you use it. It will ask you a few questions to get all those foundations in place. And then it will write the source instructions, the source prompt for the back end. And it gives you like a step-by-step thing on how to build it, which will be so easy. So go grab that. And then I hang out mainly on my personal Facebook profile. So it's Molly Mahoney on Facebook, or my new Instagram, Molly Mahoney Official. And I have loads of podcast episodes and things like that over at mollymahoney.com. So come check them out.
Yeah, well, and I know you have, great courses and things like that. Do you just want to go through some of the courses you have?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. How kind of you. Yeah. So our easiest program is the Content Club, which is the one that we started back in 2021. You get access to our Evergreen Engine, which is this amazing software tool that will write all of your content. It helps you to find your brand voice, get all those things in place. And then our next level above that is called AI Stars. And so in AI Stars, we have 7 different certifications. So you can use these certifications for you or your team. You also, if you want to offer these services, you can get certified in AI copywriting, AI images, AI video, AI automations, all these different levels. And we have a new directory actually that is so cool that is, I think it's topaistars.com if you want to check it out. It's really cool. And it features all of the people that are certified in our community. Topaistar.com is what it is. Okay. And so my goal is not to bring in more AI clients. My goal is to help more people get more AI clients and do more AI stuff in their business. And so we vibe coded this really cool website that I'm super happy about. And then we have a higher level mastermind called Multiply with in-person events. We go to Disneyland twice a year. It's super fun.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Molly. This was a blast. I really enjoyed it, and you're a wealth of knowledge, and I love your attitude and your energy. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, and thanks for staying on the board of that dance company. I think that really means a lot. We need more art in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And that became so clear to me. I'm a big fan of Perry Belcher.
Yeah.
And he just did his predictions, and I just listened to his predictions again. And some of it's kind of dark, what happened. And so I'm sitting in this auditorium, literally in the dark, while I'm watching these dance performances, and it's like the revelation is, my God, this is more important now than it's ever been, and it's only going to become more important as we go. We've got to find ways that humans, AI and robotics and automation is going to replace a lot of things that maybe we've traditionally have done, some for the good, some for the bad. But in order for us to maintain our humanity, we've got to embrace things like that.
Yeah. Just one last thing. I recently decided to be a co-producer on a Broadway show. So because of my firm belief that we need more of these connection pieces. So you remember the movie Beaches?
Yeah.
With Bette Midler. So Beaches is actually coming to Broadway as a Broadway musical. Oh, okay. And so I'm invested in it. I'm co-producing it. And it's just been a really fun experience to know that I started as a person on the stage, and now, like you, I'm on the board of our local theater company, the Chance Theater. And I think it's so important. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. I hope your emails are going through. Just kidding.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely. All right. So thanks so much to our listeners and viewers. If you have any ideas on what topics we should be covering or guests that you would like to see, please reach out to us. Do a big favor and smash the subscribe button. If you like this podcast, write a review, share it with your friends and colleagues. And until next week, keep calm and mark it on. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, Molly.